One of those who died during this past 2-week stretch, one of those 265, was Warren Waite. The Meridian man was 83 years old. His grandson told us about him today. Not everything, but mostly about his grandfather's final days. Brandon Waite told us his dad, Charles, was staying with his parents in Meridian while he worked at Black Canyon High School in Emmett. Charles got sick and got a confirmed COVID test the week of Thanksgiving. So Charles went back to his home in Pocatello to recover. However, Brandon says less than a week later, on November 30th, his dad was found unresponsive in his Pocatello home. At the hospital, they learned Charles suffered a major stroke, the result of a blood clot caused by COVID-19. The stroke left Charles in the ICU with difficulties moving or even speaking. Then a day later, Brandon says, his grandfather, Warren, was feeling lethargic. So he was taken to St. Luke's in Meridian. And there, he was also diagnosed with COVID-19. Now remember, Charles was living with his parents, and before he knew he was sick, he had unknowingly exposed his mom and dad to the virus. The 83-year-old was admitted to the hospital on December 1st, and by the early morning hours of December 10th, Warren Waite had passed away, leaving behind a wife of 60 years and 3 generations of Waite kids. And if you think that's the worst part of this story, well, we'll let Brandon tell you why it wasn't.
Your dad is in the hospital because he suffered a stroke because of a blood clot due to COVID.
Yes.
Your grandfather's in a hospital in the Treasure Valley because of complications from COVID.
Yeah.
And then things took a turn for the worse for your grandfather.
Yeah. So about, I think it was December 3rd, so he kind of went better, right? Oh, he's stabilizing, everything's good, to December 3rd, that morning, Grandpa's took a turn for the worse. Now they're just going to provide comfort care. He did not want to be intubated. He was kind of the mindset of, where's the quality of life in that? And then we were told, you need to go and visit Grandpa, because once his lungs start shutting down, that's it.
Were you able to get in to see him?
We were not. We had to go into the chapel and talk to him over Zoom. You go in, you talk to the chaplain. He gives you this iPad. It's very, well, they make it as personal as they can be, but there's not much, that's personal with it.
When did you decide that you need to get your dad involved in this?
So my sisters, they just realized, hey, while Dad's up and awake, we need to get him on Zoom. So my sister's holding the phone right here, and and that's that picture, and I'm holding the tablet right there. And we have to tell my dad what's happening, because he's in this hospital alone, and he doesn't really know what's going on at home.
He doesn't realize his dad is dying.
Right.
I mean, when you told him he just had a stroke, how did he respond to this?
He could tell his heart was breaking, because his face he just cried. And he was trying to form words, but he couldn't. And so just hearing him cry out, both in sadness and frustration, not even able to say goodbye to his dad, not even able to tell his dad that he loves him, that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
Is that the worst part of all this, Brandon? Is, granted, losing a grandfather is bad.
Yeah. It's
a very bad thing. While your father is in the hospital and unable to visit him, but nobody's able to get in there. Nobody's able to talk to him directly. I mean, that's got to make this 10 times worse.
It's terrible. I mean, if you're lucky enough to get to that age to where you have great grandchildren, the idea is to be with your family while they're holding your hand when you die. And Grandpa didn't get that because of this. And my dad didn't get to say goodbye to his father, because not only was he clear across the state in another hospital, but he can't even form the words.
We know there are hundreds of families, well, at least 1,200, who may have had the same experience, having to say goodbye via a computer screen. Brandon said his grandmother was able to get into the hospital room to see her husband one last time, but it took about 20 minutes of sanitation and getting into a complete hazmat suit. And even then, their time together was limited. Brandon says his dad, along with feeling guilty about exposing his grandfather to COVID, is now out of the ICU and hoping to get to a rehab facility to learn to walk and talk again. However, Brandon told us today, Charles, who is 58 years old and a veteran, does not qualify for VA benefits to help pay for his recovery because, well, for one reason, he's not 60. So Brandon has set up a GoFundMe page to help pay for his dad's treatment. And we plan on putting that link in this story at ktvb.com.